Please welcome to the stage Danny Williams and Liz Couto.
Welcome. I'm Liz Couto. I'm a product marketing manager on the platform team.
My name's Danny. I'm a designer on the platform team.
And we're so excited that you've all joined us here today. So with that said, we'll get straight into it. As you all know, running a business is really hard. Even though Shopify provides a ton of resources to guide merchants, there are times when a unique business has unique needs. For areas like web design, custom development, and marketing, merchants will look to hire someone to help with their specific needs. And it isn't just a handful of cases. In a recent survey, we found that 1 in 3 merchants look to hire a service provider in the past 6 months. And it's not surprising that a lot of the people they're looking to hire are you, our Shopify partners. That's why, in 2011, we introduced the first iteration of our Shopify Experts Directory. So this was great. Merchants needed help, partners needed clients, and now you both had a place to connect. But as it turns out, just having a place to connect isn't quite enough. A couple summers ago, we sent a survey to our experts to see how things were going. While you did share some success stories with us, you also told us about the vague requests you were getting and the leads that were for services you didn't even provide. Because of these vague requests and lack of detail, you're telling us how you spent a lot of time going back and forth with merchants, and these conversations weren't leading anywhere. So when we asked exactly how many of these leads that you were spending so much time with turned into paying clients, you shared that that conversion rate was only around 5%. If so many merchants wanted help, and so many of you wanted to work with them, then why were there so few instances of merchants and partners working together successfully? Well, we think we may have addressed these issues. We've evolved the Shopify Experts Directory and added tools from the now complete Services Marketplace beta to introduce the Shopify Experts Marketplace. Today, we'll take you through this new product and show you how this is built to help more merchants and partners work together successfully by addressing the 3 key areas of a merchant-partner relationship: discovery, evaluation, and collaboration. Now I'll hand it to Danny to take you through the product.
Thank you, Liz. To understand why so few leads were turning into paying clients, we started by looking at the beginning of the merchant-partner lifecycle. What we found was that merchants tend to have really specific goals and needs, right? And with this in mind, we realized that how we'd categorize experts was just too broad. It didn't really provide merchants with a meaningful amount of information to understand who would be best suited for their specific need. So what this means is that you'd be contacted for things that you don't do and passed on the things that you do. Let's say, for example, a merchant who's looking for help with social media marketing. It can be really daunting for them to scroll through page after page of just marketing agencies to try to figure out who would be best suited for their specific task. So you can see how this could become pretty time-consuming or overwhelming even. So it's no surprise that some of these merchants would just give up and look for help elsewhere. So to address this, we've updated how we categorize experts to now focus on the topics and terms that are more specific and familiar to the things that they're looking for. Where before we had a single flat categorization of experts, we now have 6 top-level categories of marketing and sales, store setup, development and troubleshooting, visual content and branding, content writing, and expert guidance, all with their own subset of categories. Now, what this recategorization affords us to do is to also provide recommendations to merchants in context. So let's say you're a merchant and you're trying to install a Facebook pixel on your shop, or trying to set up Google Analytics, and you need to edit some liquid theme templates. we can now surface a link to that merchant, direct them to the specific help that they need accomplishing that task. All this really means that you're now going to get more of the right kind of leads coming to your businesses. Which brings us to our next area of focus, evaluation. To make it easier for merchants to understand who would be best suited for their specific need, we tried to understand how they actually go about figuring that out themselves. How do they figure out who would be best suited for their task, right? What was their evaluation criteria? And what we found out was really no surprise. Merchants cared most about price, past work in a portfolio of some sort, and ratings and reviews. So to prioritize this information, we've restructured our ranking algorithms to now focus less on how many merchants you've referred to Shopify and more on the quality of the service that you provide to clients by looking at things like your rating, the number of jobs you've completed for a specific service, and response rates. All of this ultimately translates into a more transparent and trustworthy experience for merchants and really provides experts with a clearer path as to how you can climb to the top of results. Now, we also know, as I mentioned before, merchants tend to have pretty specific goals and needs, right? So to help make that information even more contextually relevant and helpful, experts can now create listing pages for the services they offer. So you now have more space to elaborate on the type of deliverables and scope of work you offer for a given service. You now have more space to showcase past work, elaborate on the types of clientele, industries you typically work within. And we've made ratings and reviews more robust by incorporating metrics like communication and quality of work. Now, all of this really means you're now better able to differentiate yourselves, your businesses, and set better expectations with prospective clients. This brings us to our final area of focus, collaboration. Once a merchant decides to contact you, things can really go one of two ways, right? One, you guys are a great match. Quickly align on scope, budget, timelines, and you get straight to work. Or, not so much. Lots of back and forth, unrealistic expectations, not an ideal client, right? So to avoid this second scenario, we've created a detailed job creation workflow that allows merchants to specify more of their job requirements and scope of work upfront. Which means instead of receiving a vague request like, hey, I'm looking to redesign my website, do you think you can help? You'll now receive a detailed brief with information around the scope of work, the context on the merchant's business, and their priorities. So you can now determine if this is the kind of client or project you'd want to take on, even before interacting with the merchant. Now, let's say you do want to take on this project. To make collaborating with Shopify merchants even easier, we've built in chat, file sharing, and invoicing tools directly into both merchant and partner admins. So now, a merchant can manage and pay for their work with an expert in the same place that they manage their products and orders. And on top of that, we've made ratings and reviews more robust, and we've built in automatic feedback loops for you to complete jobs and receive reviews so you can spend less time chasing after clients for a rating and more time delivering a high-quality service and building a reputation on the platform. From start to finish, we've built the whole collaboration process right into admin. We're putting work with partners right into the heart of merchant workflows to create convenience, reduce context switching, and keep merchants engaged so that you can get the job done faster and more efficiently.
When we put these new tools to the test, what we found was that 5% conversion rates went up to 25%. This means the potential for 5 times as many merchants finding help and 5 times as many leads turning into paying clients. And we think this is just the beginning. This new marketplace is more data-informed than ever before. In addition to more personalized partner-merchant matching, we'll have the ability to see what services merchants look for the most and what categories are least saturated. So when you're looking to expand your business, we can better showcase what areas you might want to consider. To look at how far we've come, we started 8 years ago with a simple listing of experts organized by broad categories, with simple listing pages with not a lot of space to showcase your work and to give merchants the information they need to decide if you're the right partner for them. Today, we have a robust marketplace with defined categories, multi-page profiles with a ton of information so you can showcase everything you offer and give merchants the right information up front. And when a merchant does decide to work with you, all the collaboration tools are directly within Shopify. This means that merchants are better engaged in the projects and ultimately more successful merchant and partner relationships. All this went live 2 days ago with our current Shopify experts on a familiar URL, experts.shopify.com. We want to take a moment to thank all of our current experts who took the time to resubmit their new profiles and transition their testimonials. And a big thank you to the partners who took place in the Services Marketplace beta that helped inform this new product. For those of you in the audience who are not or not yet Shopify experts, we ask that you stay tuned for an update in the fall when we're hoping to bring more partners onto the program. In the meantime, you can learn more by checking out our docs. Continue to give us feedback via the forums if you're current experts. We'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas on where we can iterate next. We also have office hours today until 4:30. Thank you so much for coming today, and we really look forward to the Q&A. Alrighty. I guess we can jump right into questions if you want to choose the first one.
Yeah, this is a great question. Will you support multi-locations for experts with multiple offices? We don't have it right now, but it is definitely something that we've talked about adding from the get-go. It's on the roadmap of things that we're looking at adding. We know that most experts, typically ones that work with larger merchants, will have multiple offices, or in this day and age, a lot of remote employees. So it's something that we've heard multiple times from partners and experts alike, and it's something that we've kind of got on our roadmap for sure. Yeah, it's a great question.
I'll jump in on another one. I love that you guys are thinking of data too. We got a question of, can we add tracking tools, Google Analytics, to our experts listings? We'll actually look into this one too as well to help make sure you have the right data as well, to find out who's finding your listing and from where. So it's definitely on the roadmap and more information will come.
This is another kind of search related question. Are search results / ranking localized? They are not right now. The ranking algorithm that we're using, as I mentioned, is prioritizing not geolocation or localization, or even, again, the number of referrals that you brought to Shopify. Really what we're focusing on right now is your rating, the number of jobs that you would have completed for a specific service, as well as response rates between yourself and a merchant within the platform. So the communication tools that we had mentioned, we're going to be monitoring how engaged merchants are and you are, and that's something that we're going to be incorporating into ranking. So localization of experts isn't within ranking. That being said, location is a really critical thing for merchants when they're trying to figure out who to work with, right? Particularly for certain services, photography, for instance, if they want someone to shoot like some models or some products, it might make sense for them to be in the same location versus something else. So we have added that as a hard filter on results pages to afford merchants to find experts within a specific location. Yeah.
Another question, is there any physical documentation, PDFs that we can share with merchants we work with, and where is this access to this? Not entirely sure what kind of PDFs. I don't know if you're referring to sales decks. We do have the assets online for the Shopify Experts logo for those of you who are experts. But our hope with this new marketplace, we know before it was, once again, a really limited profile page. We've spent a lot of time building out these new multi-page profiles. So hopefully you have those digital assets, can showcase more of your work, send people there. And if you're looking, I guess, for other sales kits, I know for certain international markets, you might be able to get those through your product managers. But we really did make sure that for whatever clients you're pitching, you're sending them to your profile page, the information is there. It's a lot more complete. Also, this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's one of, do decline rates affect rankings? I would say ranking and probably more matching. It's actually a great signal for us if you decline certain jobs, because we do want to make sure, once again, that you're getting the right leads. Because it's not great for merchants if you're not a good match, it's not good for you. So if we do see a pattern, and if you're constantly declining a certain type, then we'll stop sending you that type. So it's all about you accepting, us getting the signal and knowing you want these types of leads and what kinds you don't. So your ranking wouldn't be a generalized ranking, it would affect your ranking for the types of merchants you wouldn't want to connect with anyways.
This is another great question here with respect to reviews. Will you still be able to request reviews without receiving payment through Shopify? Yes. So if you complete a job through Shopify, that will initiate a review. And you might have, not done very much to even warrant sending an invoice or receiving payment to have completed that job. So absolutely. You will still be able to request reviews. In some cases, we'll automate that request for you without having had some sort of paid invoice through Shopify.
Another great question someone asked, why did you remove the ability to link to our agency websites? So as Danny took you through, we tried to create a really clear path for merchants. We wanted to make it as easy as possible. We want them overwhelmed. We want to keep them focused on the tasks to make things more efficient. That being said, we have heard feedback from experts that oftentimes if a merchant is super really interested in you, especially for a very high value job, sometimes they'll find your own websites on their own, look for them. However, we'll continue to explore, and if we find that there's value in adding this back, we're definitely open to exploring it. I'll answer one around reviews. We've got a question of, will merchants closing and paying for jobs through the platform be able to leave a review? What if we create value for customers outside of the marketplace? That's a really, really great question, because we understand that you are doing some great work outside of the marketplace as well. We can get into more specifics, and there's some in the docs as well around other triggers for reviews, ones that have been built, ones that we're building out, but that's something that we're looking to capture as well. So obviously, everything's automatically triggered through the marketplace to keep everything seamless. If you close a job in the marketplace, that trigger will be sent to merchants, saving you that time. But if there's work being done outside, collaborate, account, referral, we've had systems to sense that and trigger reviews as well.
Just to add to that, actually, I think there's multiple parts to that question too. If you find you're doing work that isn't actually in the marketplace with respect to the categorization, we would love to hear from you, right? We've got multiple requests for adding new things from different people, and we hear you, and we love hearing that, so please continue to contact us if you are working in some sort of vertical service area category that we don't actually have covered, because those are things that we are going to introduce as merchant demand warrants adding those in. And once we have a healthy amount of supply to match that demand, absolutely add it in. So please be in touch with us if you find that you're doing things that aren't really captured within the marketplace. Yeah.
One more question? Or?
Yeah.
All right, we'll answer one really, really quickly. How will Shopify improve the ranking for old experts with hundreds of reviews? That's a really great question as well. So ranking, once again, is more personalized. It's less of a throwing a whole list at people. And then also, as you've noticed, rankings and reviews are now linked to specific jobs just to make those reviews much more relevant to merchants, and they can find exactly the information that they need for the specific service that they're looking for. So yeah, ranking is always an ongoing one based on the signals that we have. But for those of you that do have a lot of reviews, we're making sure to accurately showcase that work and match it to the right merchants correctly in the new system.
I think that's all the time that we've got.
Yeah, we're getting booted. Thank you so
Thank you, guys.
much.